Welcome, everyone. I'm Aaron Rustin, President of the Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce. I'm very pleased to moderate the Candidates Political Forum tonight. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are on traditional lands referred to as Treaty 4 territory, and that the city of Moose Jaw is located on Treaty 4 territory, the original lands of the Ojibwe, Saulteaux, Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. The Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce is a nonpartisan organization and remains neutral, does not endorse any one candidate. We'd like to thank the following candidates for being here with us tonight. We have Heather Eby, Crystal Froese, Michael Haygarth, Brett McCauley, Sam Morrison, Kim Robinson, Mike Simpkins, Clive Tolley, and Wayne Watermanuk. Moderator, I'm going to read the rules now so you kind of know how things are going to go. Each candidate will have a maximum of 3 minutes to introduce yourself. This will be timed. You will have a ding at 30 seconds left and a double ding when it's done. Each candidate will be asked to respond to 3 predetermined questions. There may be other questions as well thrown in, but there's going to be 3. Questions will be accepted on the online chat via the Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce live Facebook feed, the live YouTube channel, and through the text line. Please note, not all questions asked on the chat will be answered. We will ask that all questions be respectful, and the moderator, it's me, will ask the candidates accordingly. Candidates will have a maximum of 2 minutes to answer each question. They will be timed. Candidates will each have a maximum of 2 minutes for a final wrap-up at the end at approximately 8:12. Please be respectful of all concerned. Remember, due to time constraints, please keep the scheduled times. We've done a random draw up front to see the introductions, who goes first. The closing remarks will be done in reverse order. All right? So are we all ready? Thank you very much for being a part of this tonight, everybody.
Sure.
For everyone's listening, these are your people. These are the people here that are vying to be mayor of our wonderful city of Moose Jaw. So why don't we find out who they are? We're going to start off with Kim Robinson. Kim, could you introduce yourself, please, sir?
Yes, thank you, Aaron. Good evening, everyone. My name is, of course, Kim Robinson, and as Aaron said, I'm running for the mayor's chair on City Council. I was born here in Moose Jaw at the former Union Hospital, and I have been singing the praises of Moose Jaw ever since then. I spent several adult years in the Kootenays and Okanagan area of British Columbia, and I returned home permanently in 2011. My wife, Tina, and 3 of 4 daughters, as well as 2 grandsons, a sister and a brother-in-law are all residents of this wonderful city. I also have a brother that recently purchased a home on South Hill, and he and his wife will still be calling Moose Jaw home as well. My education is in business management and accounting. I attended the College of the Rockies, University of BC, and I studied in the Certified Management Accountant program, and recently completed a certificate in public financial management. I would say I'm an entrepreneurial type with experience in construction, property development, healthcare, and agriculture. I have been predominantly working in financial and IT departments, and my mother and father were self-employed business owners and pretty much their entire lives. So they worked hard and sacrificed for us kids, and I believe that's the influence I got that instilled the work ethic that I have now. I have many years of community volunteer and board member involvement. I've been part of the executive with the Okanagan Food Bank, the Saskatchewan and Moose Jaw Wildlife Federations, Pickleball Moose Jaw, Pickleball Saskatchewan, and I am a member of the local Heartland Hospice, and I have a particular passion for that nonprofit. Currently, I am employed with the Federated Co-op as an accountant at the Belle Plaine Ethanol Plant. I recall a vibrant and active Moose Jaw when I was younger, and I would love to be part of a return to that economic liveliness and the robust, active city. I think we have reached a point of urgency, and I believe we must try some innovative new approaches to breathe life back into our community. We need to rejuvenate our downtown area, perhaps a theme like other cities have had good success with. We have a rich history in Moose Jaw. A theme around that could be a real attraction. We need to take down hurdles to new business development and beautify our parks again.
As 30 seconds.
Thank you. Crescent Park was magical to me with the flowers, greenery, and swans, and It was truly a centerpiece attraction to our city. I support community safety through support of our police, firefighters, and emergency personnel. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Next up in line, Crystal Froze, please, Crystal. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, first person tonight.
Thankfully, I lip read very well. I knew what you said.
Sorry about that. All right, here I go. Hello, everyone. I'd like to thank President Aaron Rustin and the Chamber Board of Directors, along with their hardworking staff, Heather and Rob, for hosting this virtual forum tonight. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'm an entrepreneur, and my leadership experience includes over 15 years consulting in communications and marketing for many businesses. My education is from the University of Regina in public relations and local government administration, which focused on municipal finance and legislation. This is my hometown, and my family has deep roots in this community. From a young age, I was taught the value of being involved and to participate in making my community a better place. That is why I started a citywide litter cleanup, volunteer on the South Hill Community Association, and served on tourism, economic development, and environment city committees long before I was on city council. In 2016, 5 years ago, I was elected as your city councilor. Over the past 5 years, I have supported the largest water security infrastructure renewal our city has ever seen. And the next largest renewal will be for our 4th Avenue Bridge, the Thunderbird Viaduct. The consultation and engineering design is well underway. This is important because all of our infrastructure projects have to be shovel ready so that we can be first in line for provincial and federal funding opportunities. I've been knocking on doors and listening to our citizens as we try to make our way through this pandemic. Innovative economic development is key to our recovery strategy and to a stronger city. We are exploring geothermal technology and pursuing partners for the commercial and industrial areas. All of these initiatives will make a difference to our established businesses. Farming is a very key part of our economic health of our city. We know that even during a pandemic, if our farmers did well, it improved the outlook for our businesses here in Moose Jaw. There is great economic potential in the expansion of our Bailden irrigation project to support our agricultural industry. As your mayor, I would be actively pursuing economic opportunities that fit our city. A mayor gets out from behind the desk to meet the challenges the city is having and to build relationships with potential investors and all government partners. Collaboration, communication, and proven leadership skills are key to the role as your mayor. My education, my experience, and my dedication will be working for you to build a stronger city. It would be a privilege to serve as your mayor, and I ask for your support on
30
election day.
seconds.
And thank you very much, everyone. Thanks,
Wonderful.
Aaron.
Thank you so very much. Next in line is Wayne Watermanuk. Now, am I pronouncing your last name correctly, Wayne?
Yes, you're one of the few that actually do get great. Yeah, Watermanuk.
There we go. You're up next, fine sir.
Okay. My name's Wayne Watermanuk. A few of you know me, familiar faces on there, and I've been here as well myself. Seen many changes in the city. It's bad. I'd like to see kind of Crystal's line there, like the 4th Avenue Bridge get done. And jumping ahead here, I lost my sheet, but I'll wing it. Received my education here in town at Westmount Empire School in Peacock. Graduated there, and we owned an office Rad and Welding for 20 years. So a little bit of the business. Didn't really further the education much past high school. Working with Soul Sauce here in town, and with slipping in here, limo as well, and looking forward to serving the city. I've had a few people years back talk me into running for council or mayor. I let my wife talk me out of it. This time she's not talking me out of it and not talking to me. Nice. I'd like to strive and be a better place to be. I'm sure that's what we're all aiming to do here tonight. And in closing, I guess I just wish everybody luck, and I don't really have much more to add.
Thank you, Wayne, very much. Mr. Clive Tolley, you are next.
Yeah.
Are you muted, Clive, maybe? Yeah. Yeah. He says, I'm excited to be here. I want to. All right, there you are.
I'll tell you what is all the other services that I use, including Zoom and WebEx and whatnot, you can simply click the button on your picture to activate your microphone. This one here, you have to go down at the bottom. So I'm Clive Tolley. I was born and raised in Moose Jaw. Like many of my generation, I left to go to university at the U of S, where I was a Husky hockey player. Not sure of my career choice. I returned to Moose Jaw. I worked at CP Rail as a trainman, and I volunteer coached our Moose Jaw Kinsmen midget hockey team. My wife Muriel became a teacher in the public schools, and we decided to stay here in Moose Jaw. After a few years at CP Rail, I determined I had better complete my degree, especially it's minus 30 down there in the wintertime. So I returned to university at the U of R, and I graduated with a BA in psychology. I entered the federal public service, and to get a permanent full-time job, I actually moved to Prince Albert and lived in Prince Albert for a year. I was able to transfer to Regina, and I began that commute, but the bug to be involved as a professional hockey coach continued to shape my decisions back in those days. So I left government, and at one time was assistant general manager and assistant coach of the Moose Jaw Canucks. Eventually, I realized that a coaching career meant a life of moving, and I wanted to stay here. So I tried real estate. I built a home right here in Moose Jaw that I'm speaking to you from now. And then I went to work for 20 years with the government of Saskatchewan. My main job there was trying to assist people that were on EI and social assistance to get them into training and linked to employment. So in those days, I did a lot of counseling and problem solving to try and listen to the clients and try and help them come up with practical solutions to the difficulties they were facing. Eventually, I got interested in workplace problem solving, and I decided I'd leave government and take training to be a mediator. So I attended Sask Polytech for a year to obtain an advanced certificate in dispute resolution, and I began my career as a mediator. Since then, it's been continuous training in mediation, arbitration, and facilitation. I've now achieved ADR Canada designation as a chartered mediator and as a chartered arbitrator. I'm also recognized by Saskatchewan Justice as a family mediator, meaning I assist people in reaching out of court settlements for their separations and divorces. I've been to the Saskatchewan Labor Relations Board now, and I'm sitting on panels that are hearing labor disputes throughout our province. Years ago, I developed an interest in property assessment, and I learned about the Board of Revision. So I actually appealed my own property assessment. I didn't understand very much, of course, and the assessor won, and of course, the board upheld my assessment. I then began to serve on the board and develop knowledge about being a board member, and now I would say I'm the only candidate for mayor that is a professional problem solver, has knowledge of assessment and the Board of Revision, and that's.
Thank you, Clive. Thank you very much. Moving on now, Mike Simpkins, please.
Hello, my name is Mike Simpkins. I'm a longtime resident of Moose Jaw. I was born here in 1963. Been here my whole life, educated here, and after high school went into the Canadian Pacific Railway, where I worked a 37-year career with the Canadian Pacific Railway. Upon approaching the end of my career, I started a company called Miles Ahead Driver Ed and started looking after the driver education in the high schools here in Moose Jaw. And then in 2016, we started the motorcycle training, which you see up at the mall. So we've been a worker and a businessman in the city my whole life. I'm married, been married for 36 years. We have 4 grown children and 8 grandchildren, soon to be 9 here in March. So it gives you a little bit of information about me. My goals here for this, for running for the mayor, stem from I believe we need to bring some economic growth into our city. So we need to start promoting our city better. We need to minimize wasteful spending, and we need to start reviewing our business and residential tax structures so that we make sure that the tax structures and the assessments are reflective of what our true property values are. We need to look into our road maintenance, make sure that we're doing that properly and that we're spending wisely on that. And I'd like to see us adopt a snow removal policy rather than shoving it to the side of the road. I believe what I bring to the table is leadership and core values. And that is something that I think that we need in our chambers. We also need to start making decisions using common sense. I know some people tell me that died in the 90s, but hopefully we can resurrect that and get that back and up and running. I think the people of Moose Jaw need somebody as a leader who cares about them, has a heart for the city, and wants to see it change. And I believe that's me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Next up is Brett McCauley, please.
Well, thanks for the introduction, Aaron. I'd like to just start with a few thank yous, if you don't mind. First, thanks to Aaron and the Moose Jaw Chamber of Commerce here for putting on this event, letting us get our messages out there a little bit, letting the public get to know us a little bit. Thank you very much. That's awesome. I'd also like to thank the other candidates who are running. It's definitely a pleasure. Good luck to you all. My name, again, Brett McCauley. I've been here in Moose Jaw for the past 12 years. I've raised my two children here, my son Jacob and daughter Jackson. I think Moose Jaw is fabulous. It's a wonderful place to live, call home. I found myself a great job when I moved here, working IT with Mosaic Potash. I've been there for approximately 11 years. And yeah, they've been fabulous to me. It's been a privilege, actually. I've done lots of volunteer work. I have done tons of coaching here in town for 12 solid years: hockey, football, baseball, volleyball, basketball. I'm a sports guy, obviously, but I love to do that. And now on to my ambitions. The reasons I'm running for mayor are many. We all know that Moose Jaw is a fabulous place. It's why we call it home. But we need new leadership here and a new perspective. I can only thank the previous administration really for the work that they've done. But at this point, I'd say we're due for some different ideas. We are due. We wouldn't have 9 candidates in this race if that weren't the case. That's pretty apparent to me. We need to reevaluate from the top to bottom what we're doing and justify everything. We need to make the citizens and the small businesses here of Moose Jaw feel valued for your tax contributions, which is got to be our most important goal. I know I'm not alone in thinking that and feeling that I'm not getting the value that I deserve from the taxes that I'm paying. That needs to change. That will change. It's on my sign. Responsibility and accountability. We need to make our sense of community. We need to build that back up. We need to make us all feel like we belong, that we matter, because we do. We all matter, all of us. To make us feel that way, I think we need to inject energy and passion back into the city and get people to love their jobs, their lives again. It's the case for many of us, not just at City Hall, but in closing, I'd like to just say, let's build Moose Jaw together. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Brett. Next is Michael Haygarth, please. Michael.
Aaron, thank you very much for the introduction. It's my pleasure to be here tonight. My name is Michael Haygarth. I've got over 20 years in the aircraft maintenance industry. I've been an engineer and I'm also a pilot. I'm father of 2 teenage kids. Both my kids are here in town. One goes to Central and my daughter goes to Peacock. I'm one of 9 kids and the youngest of 6 boys. I learned early on that if I wanted to do anything in life, that I'd have to step up and fight for it. So I've learned to fight. I was too small to use my arms and my legs to fight my older brothers. I had to use my voice, my wit, and some advice that my father gave me when I was really young. His advice was probably the most powerful message that I've ever seen or I've ever done. I still live by it today. His message was, be kind, fight with integrity, never give up, and always, always be kind. This has been my theme my whole life. I get up every morning and I say to myself, be kind. Today is going to be a better day than it was yesterday. I realized that this little morning exercise that was changing my goals. It was changing my life. It reminded me what was important. This little exercise was a life-changing moment. This life gives me everything that I want. Kindness wins over everything. I started testing this idea by doing one simple gesture a day. Something as simple as waving over the fence to the neighbor and saying hi, just to see if he would smile and to see if it would change his day. Sometimes I'll walk down the street and I'll just smile at somebody else walking by and it looks like they need a smile. This is where I think we need to take this. My work environment went from a toxic environment to an enjoyable environment. And we became more productive just by being positive. My family life was better and I found every part of my life improved. This is who I am. This is what I want to share with the community. And this is what I want the city to see. Our city needs to become a stronger community. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Next up, Sam Morrison, please. Sam?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Thanks, everyone. You won't need your bell, Aaron.
Oh, it's not my bell, just so you know.
My name is Sam Morrison. I've lived in 6 provinces, and I settled in Moose Jaw by choice in 1983. I have 2 grown children and 4 grandchildren, ranging from age 9 to 16. They all live in Moose Jaw except for the youngest grandson. He lives in Regina, visits quite regularly. I've always had odd jobs and paper routes as a kid. I got my first full-time job the summer I was 14 years old. That was washing dishes and kitchen help in a downtown Winnipeg hotel. At age 16, I started working in garages. That continued on for 40 years. I own my own garage for the last 13 years and recently sold it, which has allowed me the time to become your next mayor. I've had other small business ventures and had 3 rental houses for approximately 10 years. My hobbies have always included cars and trucks. I've owned many vehicles over the years. I enjoy car shows, drag racing, and just driving old cars. I also very much enjoy my motorcycle and would love to have more time to ride. I did complete the safety course, Mike. That was time off. I have a long history of community service. I've been a member of the Moose Jaw Elks Club for over 15 years, and I'm in my 10th year as Exalted Ruler. I'm also a member of our Legion, Eagles, and Army-Navy Vets Club. I've been a board member of the Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce for over 4 years, and a board member for Community Futures for almost as long. I've long wanted to serve on city council, but wasn't willing to while I had my own business. I've also endured many years of prodding from people about becoming mayor. The sale of my business has timed itself perfectly with the opening of the mayor's position. I suspect if I wait 3 years for the next civic election, I'll be knee-deep in another venture, and I won't have the time to dedicate to city service. This is why now is the right time to become your next mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sam. And by the way, that bell is Rob's. He won't even let me touch the bell, just so you know. Heather Eby, please.
Good evening, everyone. Well, I'm not here tonight to tell you that I'm better than the rest of the other candidates, because certainly, as we've all heard, each one of them brings something of value to this race. So I'm not going to tell you that I'm better, but what I'm going to do is tell you that I'm different. I'm interested in building neighborhoods, not just subdivisions. And as we come out of the pandemic, I think that is going to be more important than ever. Relationships across our city have become divided, and I believe we need to begin to rebuild our city from our neighborhoods out so we can positively impact our business community and every aspect of our daily lives. I know that big industry is important, and I'm happy to have been part of the group that believed in the vision of the agri-food park when it was still just a concept. But I also know that big industry needs small business to support them as much as the opposite is true. As a small business owner for over 28 years myself, and as your mayor, I will be committed to communicating with small business every bit as much as big corporations, because I know small business is the backbone of our economy. As your mayor, as I have done as your councillor, I will enter every meeting prepared with full review and understanding of the entire agenda and every report. I will also come in with an open mind and be engaged to not just listen to opposing points of view, but to hear them and add those into my decision-making process, even when that means changing my stance, when changing it makes sense. And when my view does not carry the vote, as your mayor, I will fully stand behind the decision of the majority of council. I will carry the message of all decisions to the media and to the public with clarity and with mayoral support. Our current council has been together less than 1 year, but we have built a good foundation of working together to get things done. We're amicable and able to discuss and debate issues without creating lasting division. That is a core value of mine, and that will continue to be my goal in leading City Council for the next 3 years. Collaboration and unity, not division. Those are just a few things that I think set me apart, but there are many things that are similar to many of the other things we have heard tonight. Issues that are priority to me that are the same as almost everyone else here. And that list includes policing, our professional fire department, streets, roads, snow removal, potholes, parks, recreation, extended weekly garbage collection, street sign replacement, a plan for a new outdoor pool, the 4th Avenue Bridge, and of course, keeping tax increases in check. And those are just to name a few. All of us would agree that these are important issues, and they would continue to be important under my leadership. Whether you choose to vote at one of the upcoming 4 advance polls next week, or you're going to vote on election day, November 3rd, I ask that you consider me. I will represent you well, and I appreciate your support as I have since 2009. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Heather. Thank you all. And I have to say, you all look great on camera, by the way, just so you know. Smashing. We're going to go on to the questions now. As we said here, it's in a random order. We have pre-picked who is to go first. The first question is, I guess I throw in a little bit of my own. My dad always told me, if you can't say it and write it down and sign it, don't bother saying it. That was just what he had always told me. So what is the biggest change you would make if elected, and how do you realistically do that? And that's Heather Eby. Go ahead, Heather. You're on again. It's magical.
Well, as you know, the mayor doesn't come in and change anything single-handedly without the majority vote of council. So it would be my intention to continue building on the good foundation that we actually have laid with this current council, one that has seen us work together to accomplish a lot of things in the past 12 months. That being said, I hope to encourage more in-depth discussion and debate, especially now that we are entering our 2nd year of this term. I feel that even though we have agreed on many things, some of those issues could have been discussed a little more in depth before reaching our decisions. On a more operational note, I hope that through our upcoming budget process that's coming up 3 weeks after the election, that we will expand garbage collection to weekly for a month longer in the fall and a month earlier in the spring. As well, there are user groups for our arenas that have been requesting off-season ice access for a few years. And I hope that again, through budget discussions, we can find a way to make that available. We have great facilities, so if we can find a way to use them a little more in the off-season, I think that would be a win for everyone. And finally, I have been asking for a few years that we find a way to do multi-year tendering for capital projects like the cast iron water main replacement program. I believe that that way we could secure a price for 2, 3, maybe probably 3 years max, but that would allow us, allow the contractor to get to work right away in the spring as soon as construction season would begin. So we've asked about it, and I'm really hoping that at some point we can have that put in place, because I think that would make that program flow even better. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. And of course, thank you, Heather. Under the 2 minutes each that you'll have for this question, Crystal Froze, please. You're next.
Great. Thank you, Aaron.
You want me to read the question again? You got
Nope.
it?
I've got it. Thanks very
All
much.
right.
Yeah,
Right
you
on.
bet. So right now we're facing some unknowns and we need an economic recovery plan, and one that includes looking at areas in our city that are struggling, because we know we have a higher number of people who are struggling to pay their property taxes. Part of the mayor's role is to attract economic development to our city. So I'd be looking to eliminate red tape at the business level so we can help our big and small businesses succeed. We must have a city that works for us and on behalf of us. And if you want to open a business or expanding, I want to make sure that you have all the info you need to succeed and to open your doors as quick as possible. And this all stems from an attitude of how can we help? And I initiated this how can we help concept to bring a positive change to the corporate culture of our city hall. And this has already begun to emerge in our request for service app that you can download to any phone, and that our staff will respond to inquiries within a 48-hour period. Corporate culture changes begin at the leadership level. So how can we help attitude will be a key focus and a part of what I will bring to the mayor's office. Thanks, Aaron.
Well, thank you very much, Crystal. Next up is Michael Haygarth, please. Michael? Do you need the question again, man? You got it?
Oh, I think I got it. Thanks, Aaron.
Right on.
Yeah, I've done a lot of thinking about what would be the first and the biggest thing that I would like to do as if I become mayor. And I guess the big thing that I would like to do, something that I would feel like really passionate that I would want to bring to is a bit of a challenge to the city. The challenge of the positive action. If we just look, for example, that the city of Moose Jaw has 35,000 people in it. And if every single person took one extra positive action, whether it be to help their neighbor cross the street, help a neighbor, help somebody onto the bus, just do that one extra thing. Maybe if there's a coworker who looks like he's having a bad day, just help him go for a walk. If every single person once a day took the opportunity to give that one positive action, that would be 35,000 positive actions that happened today that didn't happen yesterday. So if we do that on a daily basis, we're looking at an extreme high number of positive actions where if this happened around the city, my belief is that we would start to build our community and help out our public services so it's not quite a pandemic that we're dealing with now. So as mayor, my first thing would be to challenge the community to do one positive action. Thanks.
Thank you, Michael. Next, Mr. Brett McCauley, please.
You're calling on the Brettmeister. All right.
With the nice headset, by the way.
Well, there we go. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'd like to do, the biggest change that I'd like to make is a culture change. We need to change the culture in City Hall. Too many people I've spoken with feel frustrated with the city. Honestly, it's because of everything ranging from being told when you call in, we can't help, there's nothing we can do, these are the rules, to having their lawns torn up when new roads are built. I mean, I live on a really close to where some of these projects are being done right now. And I just walked down and spoke to some people on the street. There were 14 people on the street affected. Their yards were torn up and they weren't left with a gaping hole, but it was filled in with dirt and grass seed. My philosophy, leave it like you found it. Come on, we're the city, for goodness sakes. We owe our taxpayers more than this. The list goes on and on. We need a culture, we need to engage a culture where we empower our employees to actually fix it. It doesn't leave your desk until the situation is in the proper place and that you know it's being handled. We can follow up with the complaint, but this only happens from the top down. Our senior leadership and managers have to buy into this, and it all starts with us in City Council. To make it happen, we have to believe it, and we will.
30 seconds.
Done.
Wow. All
There we
right.
go.
You guys are just chewing this up. That's wonderful. Next, Mr. Sam Morrison, please.
All right. The biggest change I would make would be addressing our growing crime problem. I believe the root of these crimes is the illegal drug problem that's so prevalent in our city. Our police, medical, and mental health professionals need to be consulted to establish a plan to combat this situation. The situation has some overlap with the growing homeless problem. Addressing the homeless situation would require involving our Salvation Army, Mission, and Transition House, just to name a few. Not all homelessness is a result of drug addictions. Our waning economy and some misfortune, along with mental problems, has a lot to do with it. We will need to focus more on viable options for homeless women, especially those with children. And we need to do a better job of keeping Crescent Park safe for all to enjoy. The behavior and vandalism taking place in our park should not be tolerated. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. I should state right here too, understand if you're wanting to communicate more directly, the people that are watching with any of these candidates, you can go to the city website, city government to by-election tab, and you can address some of these further later on as well. Next in line, Mr. Kim Robinson, please.
Thank you, Aaron. I would think that based on my communication skills, that the biggest change that I would like to affect is an overall trusting and connection between City Hall and our community. I believe that our community engagement is an absolute must. We have so many challenges to meet in Moose Jaw, but we also have so many great community members that want the same thing as I would want as leader of the city. I am committed to seeking the very best for our city and our residents, and I believe that far too often we have settled for just good enough. While that doesn't really cut it for me, I want people to feel that this is their community, it's their government, and their opinion is valued as much as any other opinion. I feel the biggest change would be in people feeling that we have a relatable leader, one with an open door policy and willing to listen, willing to help build the community feel that Moose Jaw was once famous for. I would even promote events like neighborhood gatherings, a sort of a block party, if you will, and a burgers and dialogue with our council in attendance to hear firsthand of concerns and even contentments. And I think myself as mayor, our residents would see that I have a passion for Moose Jaw that has been missing from our leadership, as some of our other candidates have mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Mr. Clive Tolley, please. Or I'm sorry, Mike Simpkins. I'm sorry. Got ahead of myself there. We do want to hear from you, Clive, but Mike up first, please.
I know I talk fast, but I didn't realize I was that quick.
Well, there you go.
I think there's lots of concerns that people could pick or address, like our roads, snow removal, garbage collection, condition of our parks. But to me, the biggest one is our accountability to our taxpayers. And so there's been a few others that are touched on it. So it's clearly they've been knocking on the same doors that I have. I feel there's a bit of a disconnect there between our current councillors and our taxpayers. And a lot of times the feelings that I get is that they're not being listened to. Even some of the people that I listen to when they come to the council meetings and address the council, and I actually get the impression that their mind was already made up before the council meeting even started. So they're just putting on a little drama in front of them. After they finish their presentation, they do their vote and they don't seem to care, are not really listening to that the people is. I'd like to see, if I get in there, I'd like to divide the city into sections. And I would like to put a counselor in charge of each one of those sections. And I would like to put them, make them responsible to deal with that section of the city and get to know the people in the city, talk to those people there so they can bring their heart back into city council. So that when we're meeting and getting together, that we actually are hearing the voice of the people and are addressing their concerns. That we're not just addressing the concerns for one area or the other, but we're actually addressing the concerns for the whole city, and that we're hearing everybody in the city, and so that everything is brought to the table. Then we can prioritize the things that need to be dealt with, and deal with them as we go. So there may be some amendments to the bylaws too that need to be looked at in order to bring more transparency, because I know people are concerned about these in-camera meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike, very much. Now, Clive, sorry, sir, your turn. Mr. Clive Tolley.
Well, Aaron, you know, I practiced reading my introduction and timing it, and it still ran way too long. So the practice isn't working. The script is off. I'm just going to speak from the heart here.
Yeah.
I like what Brett said about culture change required at the city hall. I like what Sam said about the drug problem and vandalism and crime and whatnot that's facing our city. But I think that the biggest thing we need to do is create more wealth so we can afford to run our city. And in 2011, we built a $50 million facility downtown, and we built it downtown so that it would be next to our historic downtown. And at the time, of course, there was 3 hotels and other amenities on River Street. And the vision of the people who wanted it located downtown was you'd spill out of a hockey game or a concert at Mosaic Place, and you'd go down into River Street and you'd get a meal or a drink or something, and it would really be an economic spin-off. We've been sitting for 10 years looking at a dirt parking lot. As Joni Mitchell would say, they paved paradise and put up a parking lot. I really think the number one thing that I would try to do is facilitate the redevelopment, the revitalization of River Street. And with that, of course, is going to become tax revenue, jobs, and all the spin-off. Can you envision somebody staying at the spa, walking down our beautiful River Street, and there's this hotel and bars, nightclubs, breweries, whatever we can create, and then we'll truly be notorious once again.
Wonderful. Thank you, Clive. I find when I run over time, I just attribute it to the U.S. exchange rate. Don't know how that has anything to do with talking. Just saying. Mr. Wayne Watermanock, please.
Well, thank you, Aaron. Everybody on here tonight, some really great ideas. Just about give everybody a vote for mayor, but we can't do it. I agree with a lot of things. Clive there on the river, essentially. Big thing for me, I've had a few thrown at me again, and we've all heard it. But coordination of the infrastructure work. Prime examples here, like, you know, a road gets paved, and a week later, they're digging it up for a water main. We had an incident here at our house, sewer line last year. It's still not fixed yet, and I think it was Brett there mentioning, like, at least how you found it. Our yard still isn't done. I ended up doing most of it ourselves. Still waiting for a curb to be put in. Paid the bill for this, and I told my wife, I said, why pay it? The city hasn't done it. Like, they don't give a damn. Especially when somebody's already paid for it. This work should be done, and it should be done in order. They came, they, you know, patch up the road and dig the pavement up to put a curb in, just wasting money. And it's got to stop. I like in order here. We could save a lot of money. Get them done in order. Mike with the snow removal, 100% on there. Something's got to be done there now. And 4th Avenue Bridge needs attention. And quality of a 17th Avenue, if we could. That's just what I've heard on the street. And thank you. I'll turn it back over.
Thank you. Now, I hope when I do that gesture, I'm not saying get off. That's my 30 seconds. I only have 3 fingers to hold up, so that's what I'm doing there. But thank you all very much on that. Moving on to the next one. The last few years have seen amazing economic growth here. Lots of things coming in. I know there are other things, but what are the top 3 economic drivers in Moose Jaw? And how would you engage with these entities to improve economic development? And Crystal Froze, you're up to bat.
Great question. Well, I think to answer that question, first, we really need to understand the current business landscape of our city. We have a population of about 35,000. We have a trading area of 250. with key economic sectors like mining, agriculture, processing pulse crops, our NATO flying training center, 15 wing, trucking, and of course we're a rail town, and we're also the largest center for livestock in Saskatchewan. And these sectors all participate in the success of our established businesses here. So a key economic driver in our small business community, we are able to create an online Moose Jaw marketplace that help businesses go online for their sales. And this was all during the pandemic. As well, we opened up Sidewalk Cafe to extend businesses out into the sidewalks as a way to address what was going on in real time. But we need a growth plan, and we also need a preservation plan as we move through the effects of the pandemic. So I would definitely engage with the Chamber, the Downtown Association, tourism members, as well as our economic development experts here in our province. Technology companies are also looking to grow their business, and they bring skilled job opportunities to our city. We already have a growing tech-savvy entrepreneurs right here in our city. Also, we have companies like CAE that provide aerospace education and training, and there's great opportunities in partnership with our municipal airport. Agriculture industry is a very important economic driver in our city. This includes the developing our agri-food industrial park, and we can't forget that we also have the Grayson commercial area. With the recent announcement of the Sask Poly Agricultural and Food Production Diploma Program, there is a huge opportunity in our city. And the Bailden Irrigation Project is also another way to expand and support our farmers in our area. It is a project that we have had for over 40 years, and I will be looking for provincial and RM partners to grow this opportunity. So those are my key areas I would focus on.
Thank you, Crystal. Next up, Mr. Michael Haygarth, please. Michael.
Wow, that's kind of hard to follow. That was really said, Crystal. Yeah, I guess in the top three economical drivers of the city, it's hard to pick three because we have so many. I would have to say agriculture is probably our biggest driver, and the fact that our current council has instituted an industrial park for agriculture. If we look back over our history, agriculture has been there since the beginning. We've used this land as agriculture for over 100 years now. So we're pretty much the masters as far as delivering our agriculture through our rail and our roads being in the center of the country. And I believe we need to extend that and draw more people into our agricultural park. This park is already there. We need to bring more people in, more businesses in. And like everybody says, if we bring these businesses in, then we have the availability for our children to have excellent jobs to reinvest in our community. With these jobs that come in, our city will grow, and our downtown revitalization program will also kick in. So tourism, I believe, is one of those extra things that we need to spend time on. I've been all over this country. I've been everywhere that has a downtown core, and I haven't been to a core that's as potentially vibrant as what Moose Jaw has. If we can pull our downtown together, use the White Elephant or the Mosaic Center as a little bit more of a drawing card, build up River Street, and bring these economical drivers in, we will pull. Damn bell. We'll make this. Oh, that bell. Yeah.
I know.
So anyway, there we go.
You don't want to use up all 30 seconds?
It's done.
All right, it's out of here. All right. Mr. Brett McCauley, please now, Brett.
Not sure I can do this in 2 minutes, but the three I have here are small business, tourism, mining, agriculture. I believe small business drives everything we do here in Moose Jaw. Honestly, these are the creative minds of our community. They're the ones who drive the change. Small business owners cannot be undervalued. Improving economic development in this area starts with making sure that we create an environment where they can actually thrive. I've spoken to many business owners around town, many of whom who've had their taxes double just this last year alone. And they wonder if they can survive this kind of expense. Many can't. How can we as a city proclaim to actually support small business if we're the driving factor in putting a lot of them out of business or having to move out of our city to other communities where it's more favorable for them to do business. Tourism. With all that's gone on in these past couple of years with tourism, it's been stifled. Restrictions, etc. It's been an area, it's an area we have such an opportunity with here in Moose Jaw. We are the notorious city, the place where Al Capone walked our streets. We have tunnels. We have a proposed geothermal project in its feasibility stages. We have an amazing potential here. It's imperative we embrace the challenge and make tourism happen. Mining, agriculture. There are many more I could mention here as well, but these are the major ones. These two have been a major contributor in our community for a long, long time. It's all integrated, really. Keeping our small business and tourism focused on promoting our agro businesses and potash producers will only help our end game. It'll make us all feel more engaged in the community and provide us with the tools that we need to move forward.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you very much, Brett. Mr. Sam Morrison, please.
Well, we have so much in Moose Jaw that it's hard to narrow it down to just three. Agriculture has always been our largest industry. Tourism's been a great asset to our community and has more room to grow as we look toward the end of this pandemic. In my mind, the top three that we can influence are capital, labor, and infrastructure. Capital is key. We need capital investment to build from. To attract capital, we must provide a strong labor force. Immigration is one part of the solution to the labor shortage. Somebody there needs to mute their microphone. We have the RNIP program that our Chamber of Commerce has been working hard on. We must also make our city more inviting to our youth. That not only means addressing housing, but public transportation. Moose Jaw, we can do better. We must be willing to facilitate a business-ready environment. We must be willing to provide service-ready lots as required. We must provide good communication between City Hall and the business community. I would like to commend the past councils on the work they've done attracting past projects. I hope to continue providing an environment that will foster continued growth and prosperity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sam. Mr. Kim Robinson, please, sir. And again, if you guys ever need the question again, please just let me know and I'll go through it one more time.
Thank you, Aaron. Well, Moose Jaw has several economic drivers, as some of the other candidates have mentioned. But I guess to boil it down, I would firstly say tourism. I've always been impressed with our city's ability to attract thousands of visitors and generate millions in local spending. Our trolley tours, our tunnels and events like the Scotties, our air shows and sidewalk days, just to name a few. Of course, as others have mentioned too, agriculture is a huge driver in Moose Jaw. We have some of the most productive soil on the planet. We have many, many agriculture-based businesses, jobs, and the capability for many more with our new agri-food industrial park. Certainly, Donald's Foods is going to be a lot bigger with its acquisition, and the large renovation project that it has going at XL Beef location. So that's all really exciting stuff. And of course, manufacturing in our area is a big economic contributor. We have production of equipment, trailers, glass beads, asphalt, concrete, clothing, ethanol, and fertilizer. And that's certainly just a small sampling. But as Mr. McCauley said, it would be remiss of me not to mention my personal favorite driver, and that's our retail and small businesses. We have many, many residents that make their living via small business and retail entities, and they have been suffering over these past 20 months. I would like to see a rejuvenation of support for these businesses. And I'd just like to add, we have a capable person in Jim Dixon in our economic development department. So I would engage by supporting Mr. Dixon's efforts and my own spirited promotion of our city with the passion and commitment that comes from someone that loves his hometown as much as I do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kim. Mr. Mike Simpkins, you're up, sir.
I think there's many, as have been addressed, economic drivers, but I want to focus on what I think are three that we actually have the most influence on, and that is, as been mentioned, tourism, community events, and supporting our local businesses. I think tourism is something that we need to promote more, and we need to try to draw from and try to create more attractions. So we need to have more tourist attractions here. We need to try to generate and invest in more tour attractions. We need to try to bring in some ideas and government money, business or investors into generating more tourist attractions in our city, improving on the existing attractions that we do have, and marketing our city better. I think we can do a better job at marketing our city, and we need to be more creative in some of the programs that we bring into the people. As far as community events are concerned, I think we can get our community events back up and running and moving forward in a safe manner. We can all sit down and look for the ways we can put these back together and get things moving in the economy and moving ourselves forward as we come out of this pandemic. So I'd like to see Motif get back up and running on our Sidewalk Days and our Park Arts and some of these events. I'd like to see them get back up off the ground. That brings people into the city. I would like to bring up some new ideas and new innovative ways of bringing people into our city, new type of programs, partner those programs together so that we can have big weekends, big things going on in our city, and that will bring people in to support our businesses as well as other initiatives to enhance our downtown core, including the River Street project, if we can get something going off the ground there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike. Mr. Clive Tolley, please. Clive?
When I travel around this world, people always react to the name Moose Jaw, as everybody knows. And they say, what's going on there? And I says, well, what we do is we grow wheat, we raise cows, and we breed hockey players. And I think that's basically who we are and what we are. We are a farm service center that services, I think Crystal mentioned, up to 250,000 people find Moose Jaw as their farm service center. And I think we have to keep building on that. And the main area that the city can help, of course, is value-added type businesses. Right now, we ship most of our cattle and our wheat out of this jurisdiction. Certainly, this sow plant is going to be a good addition. Tourism is our number two thing, I think. We've got Tourism Moose Jaw working very hard, and the trolley's doing well, the tunnels is doing well. We really need to, as we come out of COVID here, build up the acts that are going to be in May Wilson and the Mosaic Place. We've got tremendous facilities there for entertainment, and we have to take advantage of that. I'd like to see us start to produce an outdoor show down in Waccamaw Valley that would play on our Aboriginal ancestry and the RCMP. A few years ago, Ken Mitchell's Medicine Line was performed down in Waccamaw, and it was a hugely successful thing. But we weren't able to sustain it and keep it going year after year. And I think that that's something that we might want to try and invest in. And of course, we have a cluster of businesses out at Belle Plaine. Perhaps the city should think about establishing a bedroom community more in the direction of Belle Plaine on our east side up through the valley, so that there's bedrooms and homes for people living there that are working at the Belle Plaine plants, which is, there's 3 or 4 plants there. And some of them are commuting to Regina. Perhaps if we had a little bit of a subdivision in our east side, it would attract some of those people to stay and live in Moose Jaw.
Thank you. Perfect timing, Clive. Thank you so much. Mr. Wayne Watermanuk, please, Wayne.
Well, my 3 guys were pretty well all mentioned here, but I guess we'll go over them again. I had tourism, the business, our spa and casino, our generators in the city. And what I would do is I would promote more, like our tunnels, like Mosaic Place, concerts in there. Arcade for that place, so people have a place to park and they're not walking all over height and getting mowed down. I'm amazed nobody's been killed there yet during an event. I will say the parkade would be one heck of a good idea there for Mosaic, and revitalize River Street. To see historic River Street, well, it's history. There's nothing. So let's build her up. Again, that would help create some more tourism. As was mentioned, and I've talked to a few too, they're getting taxed to death. Like they just can't afford to keep these businesses running with these taxes they're paying and something for them. Or we're not going to have any businesses. Businesses, you're not going to have any people. You're not going to have any taste. The city's going to die. And spa and casino, we got them going. Let's bring more into the town. I think we can, as has been suggested, more businesses, maybe some tax businesses. I know that's been successful, but some kind of to encourage businesses to set up here would be great to see. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wayne. Heather Eby, please.
Thank you. Well, when you come at the end of this, it's nothing I'm going to say is going to be very interesting or exciting because most of it's already been touched on by everybody. But my first thing would be the new Great Plains Power Station. It's a massive, massive project for our city with an estimated 500 jobs during the construction phase and 25 permanent high-paying jobs once it's in operation. But this is just the beginning of the agri-food park, and it will be important for us to continue developing good working relationships with those parties who are already interested and those who will come and be interested in looking to build here. We are at the starting gate of this park, and we need to continue to build those relationships and bring industry to Moose Jaw. And the great news, and I said this before, and everybody else has said it too, is that big industry needs small business to succeed, and our small businesses in Moose Jaw will benefit from industry coming. So it's a win-win across the board. I also agree that we would be missing a huge piece of our economic story if we didn't include our agricultural partners from all around us. They contribute in a huge way to the economy of our city. And City Council has been working towards a better working relationship with our RMs over the last term or two and with the rural communities. But I do think that we can do more through expanded communication and some more creative collaboration so that we can work together better with those partners. And of course, tourism is a very important economic driver in Moose Jaw. Tourism Moose Jaw is doing a fantastic job of diversifying what they offer. And I, as mayor, would continue to support them in that. But a tourist town is not just built on the back of their tourist center, no matter how great it is. It is a family affair, so to speak. It is up to everyone to always put our best foot and face forward. Our downtown is unique, beautiful, and I would like to see us build on that. I am totally in support and excited of the future River Street development, and I'm committed to working alongside that group to see something amazing come out of that historic area. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. You know, I think at this time we have to really commend not only municipal leadership, but provincial and Canada-wide and global. These are unprecedented times. So some of the decisions being made, we've never walked this journey before. So whoever steps into leadership in this capacity, you're going to be facing things that no one else has faced. So I just want to commend everyone that has been in leadership to this point. Everyone has their positives and their negatives, what they feel, but we have to understand we're all in this together. So anyways, that's my just little aside. They say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village to make a village strong as well. So you know what, we're going to ask the third question here. And I know you've had a look at it, but we're going to, the question is, how would you work cooperatively with the city council to improve city services and operations, considering you are one vote? You are one vote. How do you influence for the benefit of the people overall? And we're going to start with Michael Haygarth, please. Michael.
Oh, good. I get to go first.
You live in the dream, man.
Every day. I just want to say that it's pretty impressive that we have 3 city council members on it, and you can tell that they're well versed in speaking on a mic and everything else. It's pretty impressive, and I don't want to take away that. I want to say that we need to do a better job, because I think the job that you're doing is exceptional. And as a 1-person vote of a 7-person council, we all need to work together. And if I were to become mayor, I guess what I would want to bring in is like an energy level that unites everybody, and not saying that there isn't a connect or a disconnect between the city, but I would like to connect more with the people, and so they feel like they have a voice in the council. And if that's going out and walking down the street and saying, what do you need? Then I think that's something that I would like to do and bring back to city council. So in order with the services, I did talk to the Firefighter Association president, and he was mentioning the firefighters' issues. And I think we need to make sure that they're safe and that they're comfortable in what they do. And we as a community need to rally around our firefighters and our police and our support and our homeless. If the community of 35,000 people can help the 7 people that run the office, if we can, as a community, reach out, grab those people that need the extra help, then I don't think anybody can fall. Like, we're only as strong as our weakest link. Let's grab that link and hold it together so nobody falls.
Thank you, Michael. Next up, Mr. Brett McCauley. Please, Brett.
Thanks, Aaron. My vision starts with treating City Hall as a for-profit business. It's not a for-profit business, but it kind of is. We are a corporation, after all. Our mission requires that we make decisions accordingly. That said, as a corporation, we are accountable to our shareholders, the taxpayer. Our focus is the shareholder. Many of our city council members are small business owners themselves. So leveraging this experience is going to be absolutely crucial to driving change. This is, I believe, how we're going to be able to work together for a positive change. Very short and sweet.
Well, there we go. All right, Sam, you still only get 2 minutes, just so you know, even though he was pretty quick. But Mr. Sam Morrison, you go.
Thank you. All right. We should never lose sight of the fact that the mayor's office, city council, and city administration is in place to serve the residents of Moose Jaw. We all have our own roles, but are on the same team, with the goal of making Moose Jaw a great place to live and work. We must avoid micromanaging and encourage productivity. My duty as mayor will be to listen to council, who has gathered information from administration, and help city council develop solid solutions without creating more problems. Together, we would form an atmosphere of cooperation and working in good faith. We also need an atmosphere free of bullying, where people feel free to offer creative ideas. I can only accomplish this with the cooperation of City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Mr. Kim Robinson, please, sir.
Thank you, Aaron. Well, firstly, I would say that the effectiveness of any local government starts with the leadership. So it's really key. And being likable is a key component of that success, a personality that draws others to consensus, and a requirement to be genuine and speak from the heart. I feel a cooperative leader is one that's open to ideas and new concepts, as we all seek to do our very best for our community. I am committed to a vision for Moose Jaw, so I would set priorities, I would track progress, I'd work cordially but firmly with other councillors. I am a decisive leader and I am a continuous learner, so I would bring new thought and methods to our meetings. I would encourage our entire council to always seek public engagement and, above all, be respectful and ethical. I would top it off with being humble, knowing that there is no perfect plan, and knowing that we don't have all the answers, but we do have the resources and an openness to discover the right path for Moose Jaw and all of our community members from that. That's where I think I would excel and bring that leadership quality to our council table. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Mr. Mike Simpkins, how would you steer your cooperative nature with the city council, please?
I believe everybody has best intentions to work cooperatively. My heart is for the city and for the citizens of the city. I'll be encouraging the councillors to follow my lead and to forget, not to forget who they're elected and who they're supposed to represent. I might see it a little differently, but I do see that there is a bit of a disconnect when I see that there was a number of our current councillors that actually wanted to, and either are or wanted to run for council. So I see there is a bit of a disconnect, and so I think that needs to be brought back together so that they can work together, because there doesn't seem to be a consolidated voice for who would make the best mayor out of there. And so I think that the citizens need to have somebody that they can trust in. And so for me, I believe we need to bring the councillors back together. I believe we need to get the councillors working with the people. I believe we need to have some collaboration and working with our citizens. They need to have make sure that we're hearing the needs and hearing what the people have to say. We need to find out what the needs of the citizens are, what their voice is, and bring that forward. And then we need to start meeting with the city workers, and that includes your emergency service workers, as well as all of the city workers in office and then out on the streets. We need to find out what the culture is. We need to make sure that we're working to develop and to create a culture in which people want to go to work and that they love their city just like I love my city. And so we need to work together, and we need to make sure that we can bridge the gap between the council and the people, to make sure that what the people see and what they see for a vision and what they think should be done, and talk to the people that are actually on the ground doing the work, to make sure that it can be put forward so that there's a bridge in there, so there's not a disconnect between our city workers and the people that are taxpayers based. So I like to see some collaboration there, and I'd like to see some work in that area to bring our city together.
Thank you, Mike. Perfect timing. Absolutely. You've been practicing, haven't you? That's absolutely perfect.
No, I'm not following my notes because no.
Mr. Clive Tolley, sir.
Well, if I could use the analogy of a hockey team, if I'm fortunate enough to be elected mayor, it's like the coach has been promoted to another league, and the coach has got to come into a dressing room full of players, and the first thing that coach needs to do is listen to the people that are already on the team. So if I'm happen to be elected mayor, I would be listening to Heather and Crystal and Kim and the other two councillors, and see if in fact we can form a team and produce some results together, working together. So I think the first thing would be to do a lot of listening and communicating and try to create a welcoming environment, both at the council level and within City Hall. People complain all the time about the red tape at City Hall. Our goal as a council, I think, would be to try and work with administration to reduce some of that red tape and make it a more welcoming environment, so that if people come in and they have ideas for developments or any kind of progress for the city, that it's well received. We need to create more industry, commerce, jobs in the city, so that we have more houses, more people paying property tax, so therefore we can afford to have the excellent police department, the excellent fire department we currently have. We're right on the cusp where a few years ago people were saying, we can't afford our police, we can't afford our fire department. What we have to do is create more wealth so we can afford them, because they're essential to the quality of life in our city. We do not want to go back to a volunteer fire department or the RCMP policing. So I want to see growth, economic development, more people living in Moose Jaw, and a council working towards that as a team.
Thank you so very, very much. Next up is Wayne Waterman. Please, Wayne.
I'd like to adopt like a ward system. I don't know how that would work here, but it would maybe each councillor would have their own area of the city, be familiar with the goings on in that area, wants, the needs, the issues, and they could bring that to the council meetings, and maybe some stuff would get addressed. People be more able to discuss issues with their representative, like whatever councillor is representing that area, you get a hold of and bring your issues to them, and then they could present them to the council meeting. Maybe some people's issues would be heard better that way. And have the discussions at meetings, and the councillors can communicate with each department accordingly. Like if Joe Blow's got a problem with his street or there's sidewalks all destroyed, his representative can get a hold of the proper authority and maybe would get done in a more timely manner. Just a couple of things that I'd be wanting to look as mayor anyway.
Wonderful. Thank you. You kind of cut out there at the end, but I think you're done, sir. Thank you so much, Wayne. Heather Eby, please. Heather.
Thank you, Aaron. Well, contrary to a little bit of what I've heard here tonight, I would be happy to say that the current council has established a good working relationship in our first year of this term, perhaps one of the best working relationships I've seen among a council since I was first elected in 2009. And it will be my goal to build on that and to develop that teamwork even more. It is only through working together that City Council can ever make any real changes. Changes to levels of service, programs, and operations only happen through policy and budget, and that is where City Council's work comes in. Our second budget cycle as a group is fast approaching, and I look forward to how we will look at this budget with more experienced eyes now that we are 12 months in. I know and believe that all of our current councillors have a few things they would like to see tweaked or added into this year's budget, and I'm excited for us to get to work on those things as we begin deliberations. It will be my plan to be in direct contact with each member of council on a very regular basis so that we can be sure to have the things that are important to them included in upcoming agendas and discussions. It's cliche, but communication is always the key. And I will rely on the strengths of each councillor because every councillor has strengths and I recognize those. And I will rely on those strengths to make the mayor's leadership well-rounded and without gaps. You have already, as a city, elected strong councillors. And as your mayor, I will fully embrace their leadership abilities and knowledge. And I would just like to say that if I'm not elected as mayor, I will still be there around the council table. And I promise to work with the new mayor, whoever that might be, and help to make the next 3 years great, because that is the only way that a mayor is going to be successful, is if they have all members of council on their team, and I will be on the team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Heather. Crystal Froese, please go ahead.
Great, thank you. Well, it's important as mayor to not only be a leader, but remember we are part of a team making decisions for the whole city. I was president of Rotary Club when I lived in British Columbia, and our motto was service above self. And I have incorporated that value into how I approach my role in leadership. I always take time to go out and see and meet with citizens on their issues. It's important to get as much information as possible in order to come to the council table to make the best decisions. I know as a current city council how important it is to have diverse voices around the council table and to have expert staff to provide important information. And I recognize that council is a diverse voice of the citizens we serve, and I have always respected our different opinions and collaborated with our staff to better serve our community. And modernizing our city has been a huge game changer. When I was elected to council in 2016, staff were still taking phone messages on pink callback slips and calculating payroll through handwritten time cards. And it was through our structured strategic planning process that we collaborated as city council with our staff and were able to tackle this issue of modernizing services and doing this together. Different councillors brought forward different ideas that created this strategy. Now we have an app that you can download. You can use your iPhone to pay for parking, and our website is up to date with current information. And our council worked together to make sure our staff have modern technology to serve our citizens the best way possible. And we did this collaboratively and with And that's how I would lead as mayor. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So how are you all feeling at this point? We've gone through 3 questions now. You've done well, and you're still looking really good on here. So that's a very good thing. So where do we go from here? Well, now we launch into some of the other questions, okay? And you haven't had a chance to prepare for these in any way. And I've been looking at them, and they are tough. They are, no, I'm just saying. We're going to go through them here. And again, we have an order here. We're going to walk through predetermined order. So the first one is, and this has been addressed by a couple of the candidates already. What are your plans to address the growing problems of crime and poverty at the community level in our wonderful city of Moose Jaw? Okay. What are your plans to address the growing problems of crime and poverty right here in the streets of our wonderful city? And we're going to open up first to you, Brett McCauley. What would you think, Brett?
Honestly, crime and homelessness, did you say?
Yes, sir. Well,
Yes.
and poverty.
And poverty. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fine. To be honest with you, I believe that this is a problem we can address as a community as a whole. I'm going to add in another one, mental health. Being a community is not just something you belong to. Community means that you actually are engaged. You are. It means that you actually. It means something. It has meaning. It's you can't just belong to something. And in order to address issues like crime, homelessness, and mental health as a general rule, I think honestly that we have to have activities that our citizens can engage in. I think it's been really tough for the last couple of years. We haven't had a lot of outlets that we can use, especially for our youth, which actually increases the rates of crime and homelessness, mental health issues. We do have to work together with our police. We have to work together with other professionals and make our community mean something again. That's what I believe.
All right, thank you. Mr. Sam Morrison, you actually addressed this a little bit previously, Sam. How is a guy like you going to spearhead this? How are you going to make a difference?
Well, there's people trained to do that. I'm not one of them, but I sure know how to consult. First thing to do is really not pass judgment. It is so easy to falter and get into a situation like this. The homelessness, the drug problems. I strongly believe, the drugs are a root cause of all the problems. We're never going to solve it completely, but we need to be ready for when those people are ready to help them. The mission we're building right now is a great start. There's going to be some real quality programs going on in there. We need something similar set up for the ladies, and again, something for the homeless, especially those with children. Again, I'll repeat, consult with the police, medical, mental health professionals, and make a solid plan. And we've got to work hard to be able to fund those systems. It's just something that's very important and always will be. It's going to be one of those never-ending problems that doesn't go away. But it's our responsibility to look after these people.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sam. Next up, Kim. Kim Robinson, please, sir. If you need the question again, please just, I'll certainly go through it again.
No, that's great. I just have a little trouble with my microphone here. I was going to use that excuse if the question was too hard, say, Mike, I lost my connection. But,
well, you're first on the next one, Kim, and it is a tough one. No, it's not.
Oh, good. I'm looking forward to it. Well, as a couple of the other candidates and certainly Mr. Morrison has said that there is such a root cause to some of this, our local crime and substance issues or substance use issues, I guess. And it, becomes such a social concern for all of us. So I think we have to work within our community with our policing. I don't think, the current kind of catch and release program is working for us. So I think we have to go, support from the beginning. Let's help these people get a leg up. And certainly, Sam Morrison made a really good point that I was surprised to hear myself just recently that the female people that have to call the streets their home do not really have a place where they can warm up or get a overnight rest. So those are certainly some of the areas that I would like to tackle immediately, and I think it's done through supporting some of our nonprofits that have already started a little bit in those areas. So I hope that's kind of touched on the answer to that question.
Thank you very much, Kim. Mike Simpkins, sir, what do you think about it?
Well, I think that it was touched on, and I think that's exactly what we have to do is we have to start working with the professionals, right from the policing, people that work in mental health and people that work in our emergency services and healthcare services. And we need to start, and hopefully we can get them together. I'm sure they have been, but help work with them to generate a plan to try to facilitate and work with this, because I believe a lot of it does start with substance abuse. And so we need to have a plan in place. We need to have a way to work with these people and try to help these people. I mean, those that need or want to improve, we need to have the resources. We need to have the systems in place so that we can help these people and give them that hand up in that situation. We've seen it change. We've seen it grow. Mental health is up 400% in our province since the pandemic started. So I know I'm out on the streets every day in the car with as a driver educator, and I see what's going on out there, and I see the escalation and the change just from an outside looking in. So it's a situation that definitely has to be addressed, can't be overlooked, and we need to try to start to look for ways to curb it, get on top of it, so that we can help these people and try to slow down this spiral and the effect that's happening on our communities.
Thank you very much, Mike. Mr. Clive Tolley, sir, you are up next.
I think the other candidates are actually very accurate in that it's crystal meth and it's an epidemic and it's leading to people having no money. So therefore they're in poverty. They commit crimes to try and get some money, even though the crystal meth isn't very expensive for them to buy on the street. I've been talking to the John Howard Society, and I'm making plans to go out next week and meet some of the people that are on the street. I'm going to be listening to try and see if I can completely understand the problem and what we as a city could do to address it. I hear from some of the city policemen that in trying to arrest some people that are on crystal meth, it takes 3 policemen to take some of them down. So it's a problem not only for our social services, our city, and our police and our fire department. I heard from one of the workers at the John Howard Society that the provincial government social services used to make direct payments from the government to the landlord. And therefore, at least these people would have a roof over their head. And in trying to give people self-worth and independence, they just started issuing those checks directly to the clients of social assistance, who then spend the money on drugs and don't pay their rent. As a result, they're tossed out, and we've got homelessness. So I would be looking at ways in which we could maybe lobby the provincial government to reverse that kind of a decision. It's having such a significant impact on our population.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Clive. Wayne Watermanuk, please.
Well, Aaron, as was touched on previous, or Kim maybe, the homeless females and children, there definitely has to be something done. I don't know if increasing for the answer, but I think it's the courts that are releasing these troubled individuals, and to, let's say, get better or whatnot, they have to be wanting the help. And I think if they are wanting the help, but we need, like I'd heard that there's no place for these ladies to that, and some of them with kids, like they don't have a shelter, they don't have a place to go, and we definitely need for them. It's a few years down the road, but we've a few schools here that are going to be vacant soon. Maybe converting one of them into a shelter somehow. I mean, the building's already there and going to be abandoned when school opens up on South Hill, which there's a little bit of controversy over it too, but I won't get into that one. But something along those lines anyway, if there was somewhere a shelter in place for these individuals and get the legal system doing their job. Like a lot of times you hear the police arrest these guys committing thefts or arsons, and they're back out on the street. You know, I'm innocent till proven guilty. You can't nothing, and you know it's a slap on the wrist and don't do it again. Something's got to be done on all levels, I do believe. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Heather, please.
Thank you. Well, this is a hard one because these issues of mental health and poverty and crime are not actually city council mandates. They're very important in our community and need to be addressed, obviously, but that's not our responsibility. However, it is important for us to support the agencies that are responsible for taking care of those issues. And I've been on the Crystal Meth Strategy Committee for a couple of years. They're doing great work. I've also been on the Community-Based Coalition, I think since I got elected, if not a couple of years after that. So those are agencies that are working together in a multi-agency approach to these issues. And I think City Council needs to continue to be a voice at those tables and to know what's going on and to support them. The province is starting a drug task force, and so municipally we could perhaps align with that task force with strategic plans. But again, City Council has a lot of other issues that we are responsible for and that we have to use tax dollars to pay for. Tax dollars go for infrastructure, parks, recreation. Tax dollars can't go. Municipal tax dollars cannot go to poverty. They go to crime through the police budget, but you want to keep a line on taxes. You won't keep a line on taxes if you take social programs into the municipal budget. But we can partner with the agencies that are responsible for those programs. And I was happy that City Council was able to help Souls Harbor get their new location. And that'll be an exciting project. And there's always the mayor and 2 councillors on the Board of Police Commissioners. So we do have influence in that way as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Crystal, please.
Thanks, Aaron. Well, municipal governance is actually the level of government closest to the people. That's where we are. We are next to the next door neighbors. The decisions we make are affected immediately, and people can show up on your doorstep and tell you all about it. And this one particular thing, although it's not under our umbrella as far as funding social issues, but it is in our lane as far as caring about how our community is operating right now. And there has been a surge in crime here in our city. What I would like to see is a street level approach to this. And by that, I mean creating a safe community strategy that encompasses all of the experts. We've got agencies working in silos here in our city, and we really need to get everybody around the table to talk about what we can do for solutions. We've got, as other people have pointed out, homeless women in our city have no place to go. Those are huge gaps in services here in our city. We have a detox center here, But after they're finished there, the rehabilitation portion is not even in our city. They have to travel away. And I know this because I live a couple blocks from it. And I often see people leaving there and basically with a backpack and wandering away. And sometimes I see them a couple weeks later in the line at Riverside Mission. So there are huge gaps that's going on in our city. So in order to approach this, we have to have a whole concerted effort from the John Howard Society, Moose Jaw Housing, and the experts around the table to create a safe community strategy, including landlords, the police, and everybody. And that's my plan moving forward and initiating this if I'm elected mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal, very much. And the last one in this question, Mr. Michael Haygarth. Please, Michael.
Sorry, I thought my mic was unmiked or unmuted. Wayne, can you repeat the question? It's been a lot, Aaron, can you repeat the question?
You betcha. I sure can. What is your plans to address the growing problems of crime and poverty at the community level, please?
Okay. So last week I had the privilege to meet with our deputy police chief and our police chief and was enlightened as to how much work is actually being done for this problem in our city. We have task force, we have we have members of the community out working with these people and working very hard to try to stop this problem. I guess my level of commitment and where I think that we should put a little more energy is we have 35,000 people in this city, possibly that we could maybe work together as that community to help these people that are falling. Again, I think, Aaron, you said it, that it takes a village to raise a child. If these children or if these people of our community are falling, it shouldn't be up to just 5 police officers or the homeless shelters that take care of it. Everybody in the city, it's all of our responsibility to reach out and help these people. If it's not through direct contact, then we can start groups to work together, but even financially, we can all help out a little bit more to do this as a community and make sure that they all stay together and that our community rises together. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Well, time flies when you're having fun. We are getting closer here. So I'm going to ask one more question. This is really, you don't need 2 minutes. You'll probably need about 20 seconds or 10 seconds to answer this one. The previous city council approved significant salary increases for all future councillors and mayor. One of the main reasons cited to justify the large increase to the mayor's salary and expense allowances was that the mayor's position is actually a full-time job. How prepared are you to commit to working full-time for the next 3 years, performing the duties as mayor and all the pressures that come along with that? And you know what? We're going to start with you, Sam. Freshly retired guy that you are.
I haven't had a taste of retirement yet. Thanks, Aaron.
You know.
Anyways, I had my small business for years. Last August, I had 1 week off, and that was my first holiday in 8 years. So I'm used to putting some effort in. Never made a lot of money. I've always had to work weekends and evenings doing extra jobs. I still to this day do that. I'm not so much leaning over fenders anymore, but I'm buying and selling stuff. I'm always busy with volunteer work also, so I'm not afraid to spend the time to get stuff done.
So your answer is yes, you would work full time.
Yes, I would.
All right.
Only 40 hours a week would be a pleasure. Yeah.
Mr. Kim Robinson, sir, how about you?
Thank you. Being an accountant, I'm also used to working way more hours than I should. I am passionate about Moose Jaw in itself, so I'm actually looking forward to the possibility that I may have to work full-time in the position of mayor. So I would embrace it. A bit like Mr. Morrison said, I would welcome maybe only 50 or 60 hours instead of the usual 80. But like I say, I'm really looking forward to the possibility of an opportunity to be in the mayor's seat as a full-time position and give up my accounting position.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mike Simpkins, you're a busy, busy man with your businesses and stuff. Are you willing to take the plunge and say, hey, I'm there for 90 hours a week. Color me there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think it is. I know exactly what it comes into. The average mayor puts in over 60 hours a week. So I'm expecting that. I anticipate that, and I'm ready to put that in there. I think, it was touched on a little bit. I think that's one of the things that I bring to the table is that I'm not in it for the money. I have a pension from the railway. I have a very successful business. I think we need somebody that's in there for the people, and that's exactly why I'm in there. But I'm in there for the haul. You bet.
Wonderful, thank you. So would you be willing to take a pay cut with all these other, I just threw that out there. I'm just saying with all the business stuff and everything going on. Mr. Clive Tolley, how about you, sir?
Years ago, I went in to see former Regina Mayor Pat Fiacco, and he says, I put on my suit at 7 in the morning and I take it off at 11 at night. And he says, you want to be mayor? That's what you're going to be doing. And I said, I want to be mayor. I'm willing to do that. I think it's important, though, between 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. to take some time for exercise, health, family, so that you don't burn yourself out and you continue to be healthy as the mayor. We've had in the past some mayors that worked so hard that they worked themselves to the bone and weren't able to complete their term, really. So, yeah, I'm in it full-time permanent. And I've already started the process of getting out of some of my other commitments, so I'll be available for this job and this task.
Thank you so much, Clive. Wayne Waterman, please. Do you want the question? Have you got it?
Yes.
All right.
Definitely would be willing to take this full time. Right now I'm working. I go every 12 hours while I'm driving, and I'm gone for 4 to 6 hours at a time. So, and putting the time in, and to the pay cut, yes, I would take a pay cut.
Wonderful. Heather, how about you? Heather Eby.
Oh, thanks. No.
So,
Absolutely, I am prepared to work full time, and of course, all my clients already know that things will not look the same as they do now if and when I become the mayor. And I am very aware that being the mayor is not a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job. I know that there's lots of weekends, there's lots of evenings. Canada Day, I recall a former mayor, I think, made 4 or 5 costume changes on Canada Day for all the events that he had to attend. So it will definitely make an impact on personal time and on things that I'm used to doing in my personal time. But I'm absolutely can't wait to make that sacrifice and to be the mayor. And I know also that it's not just sitting behind the desk at City Hall to be the mayor. There's a lot of being out and about and seeing people, visiting businesses and such. So I am really excited for that opportunity.
okay.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Crystal, please.
Well, I think my 5 years on city council has built my stamina up to be totally prepared to put 110% into being mayor. My first 3 years as a city councilor, I sat on 10 boards and committees. I think I might have broken a record on that. And that was a lot of hours on top of starting a manufacturing cheese business. And that. So stamina is something that I'm used to as an entrepreneur, and I would absolutely look forward to put my passion and my experience, and would consider it a privilege to do 110% in the role as mayor of Moose Jaw.
Thank you very much. Michael Haygarth, how about you, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I'd consider it much of a sacrifice to hang out with my fellow citizens of Moose Jaw. I would definitely be willing to do what it takes to ensure that the city of Moose Jaw is taken care of and works well as a community.
Thank you very much. And Brett, you're the last guy on this question.
Well, should I answer the opposite everyone else here? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, that would definitely create some further questions.
I'm sure it would. No, the expectation really is that, you know what, you need to do what's necessary in order to accomplish what the city needs. You are the face man in all reality for the city. What's necessary to accomplish goodness, in order to accomplish goodness within the city, the hours really don't mean anything. It's just the time that you have to put in to do what you need to do.
Wonderful. Very, very good. All of you obviously are very much prepared to take the steps that are necessary for this. Of course, as you know, I've always believed, the road ahead is not always downhill, so to speak. There are uphill treads as well. And it's not always easy to climb, but you know what? The view is absolutely amazing as you climb. And that's the very cool thing about life and working hard and moving forward. So thank you for that. One more quick question. I believe we have a little bit of time left just before we have closing. Am I accurate in that type thing? Or oh my gosh, wow. And you notice you guys have been closing off before we even hear the ding. So that is really, you think it's bad there, you should be hearing it. Just saying. Now this one's going to take a little bit longer, okay? And it has, again, it's going to address the perception that in the past there have been too many closed door meetings, okay? How would you, in a very condensed way, please, increase transparency and communication with your constituents who are really the stakeholders in all of this? How would you look to remove that stigma, so to speak, overall, and be more transparent? And we're going to start with you, Mr. Kim Robinson. Please go ahead.
Well, thank you again. I think this has been addressed quite recently, and there is some privacy information policies and acts that we have to follow as council. But as I said earlier, I think public engagement is huge. I know that myself and other councillors on this call right now, and the other ones that are not here, are very much in favor of having as much openness as possible. So in some ways, I think it may be just a bit of a misconception. I really feel that we do our best to be open, except when there's the need to have private meetings. Certainly, there's no such thing as a secret meeting that I've been aware of in the city of Moose Jaw at least since I've been involved, and so just that community openness. I really think that even myself, I would look at having a very open door policy with anybody in the community that wanted to come in and ask me what's going on. So
great.
That about sums it up.
Thanks, Kim. Mr. Mike Simpkins, sir, how about yourself?
Well, I think Kim said the right thing. It's about having an open door policy and being in communication with citizens so that they're aware of what's going on. Because I think transparency is a big issue. I'm hearing that when I'm knocking on doors, that it's a big issue. People feel like they're not being kept up on what's going on. So that is something that needs to be addressed, and we need to make sure that we are doing everything we can to bring transparency to the office, make sure that people know what's going on and on what's happening. Obviously, there is some sensitive things, but sometimes I wonder if we're not hiding a little bit more than we should be hiding. And so that's something I definitely want to take a look at, because I think transparency is a big issue.
Thank you so much. Clive, you are next, sir.
Well, I'm an open, honest, and transparent person, and I would like to think that anybody could come down to City Hall and ask the receptionist if they can get in to speak to the mayor. And if I was in that chair and I wasn't previously in a meeting or really busy with something else, I would talk to those people and listen to their concerns. I think when it comes to council meetings, there's a few issues that cannot be discussed in open council, and the city clerk would be the person to advise the council and myself as to what would have to be talked about in camera. So I would take direction from the city clerk when it comes to that. I think it's essential that you be out and about in the community. I'm already out and about in the community. I'm all over the community. Many people know me, and I inherited it from my mother. I start talking to strangers. So, so I think I'm the kind of person that would be ideal in that role, because I'm a strong communicator and a good listener. And I think that's a desirable trait for a mayor.
I thank you very much. I'm finding a common thread through here, of course. I think often what happens is that miscommunication, people not understanding the parameters with which you have to work within. And of
Yes.
course, that comes across other things. But Wayne Waterman, what do you think, man?
I got a good deal here. You know, transparency. And again, understand that there are some topics that are meant to be behind closed doors. And like Clive said, you know, be open. If you're in the chair, somebody's in to see you, absolutely spend the time with them. I think people of the city would really appreciate that, being able to talk to the mayor or a councillor. Like, I come to you and talk to you. There's been a few I've been in contact with a councillor. I won't mention names, but they got results, and I was very impressed with it. And that's what makes you feel good about a council. Call with a problem, they resolve it. Hey, you got my right on. So hopefully we could be more transparent with everybody and try and get a few of the closed door meetings down.
Thanks, Wayne. Heather, you've been involved for a long time with City Council in various capacities. You certainly understand the need for privacy and stuff. But what do you think? How do you interpret this? If you were mayor, what would you change, having been in the seat on council? How would you change things?
Well, as I've heard everyone talk here, and of course I hear the things everybody else hears in the community as well, and when people are worried about secret meetings, and people have been telling us we've been having secret meetings since I got elected in 2009. But as I'm listening, what I'm thinking is we need to maybe have our communications officer or director do a better job of educating the public on what actually constitutes a confidential meeting, because a confidential meeting or an in-camera meeting is much different than a secret meeting. And I will say, like Kim, and I've been on council since 2009, I have never been part of a secret, nefarious meeting of City Council. And I would never agree to chair such a meeting, or would never stay and sit in on one that was not supposed to be or shouldn't be in camera. But maybe what we need to do better is just educate our public on what actually constitutes a confidential in-camera meeting. Because when people really realize why you're discussing things in camera, then they understand. Like, of course, you wouldn't want someone discussing your negotiations in public. If we were negotiating with your company or your trade secrets or whatever, there's many reasons why things are in camera. And so maybe that's what we need to do, is just discuss that with our communications director. And I would just want to say that for me personally, as the mayor, as I have always been with the councillor, totally accessible. I take text messages, phone calls all the time. My kids hardly like going to hockey games with me because I'm always talking to people. And whether it's at the office, at a hockey game in Waccamaw Valley, or the grocery store, people know they can approach me because they do, and they will, and I will always be happy to take their question. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much. Crystal, your situation is very similar. You've been on there for some time. Maybe from the inside, just as Heather, what would you see that you might be able to do to change the perception and how it's presented to people, please?
Well, first off, I would continue to only go in camera when we absolutely had to, but it is legislated. It is the law. We're actually governed, and we when we do go on camera, we actually quote the subsections that are actually applying to whatever it is on the agenda to be accountable and transparent. But from a accountability and transparency side of things, keeping the public informed from the mayor's office is so important, and communications is the key. And it's actually one of my strengths, and it's part of what my profession has been for 20 years is building off of communications. So I've already have a track record of being accessible. I even have people who tag me in posts on Facebook, and they're quite surprised sometimes when I message them and give them my private phone number and say, like, give me a call and let's have a chat. And some follow up, which is great because I'm always ready, able, and willing to share information, and be straightforward with people. And quite often they just don't know, or they haven't been able to track down the information that they've been looking for, and I think that's part of building confidence with the community. And that comes from the mayor's office 100%. And that trickles throughout the whole culture of our city council. So keeping the public informed right from the mayor's office would be my strategy and approach that way.
Wonderful. And Crystal does raise an excellent point. If you do want to discuss some of the perspectives with the various candidates here, go to the city website, go under city government to by-election tab, and you can access information and all the other things that you can contact the individual candidates here. Michael Haygarth, please, sir. Transparency.
All right. Well, I'll try to keep it as honest and transparent as I can. If I get elected as mayor, I believe it's my responsibility to prove that I'm honest. So if I start out being honest, then for the rest of my period in office, that my job would be to convince everybody and make them feel always at ease that I always have their best interests at heart, and just be as honest at every event and every turn, so the question doesn't come back to me, are these meetings secret or anything else? It's just honesty.
Yeah. Wonderful. That was very succinct. Good. Brett McCauley, please.
Thank you. The purpose of a government, an elected government, is to obviously be transparent. I think Heather touched it best here so far of anyone, is that it's not just, it's communication. Communication within City Hall needs improvement, in my opinion. It's paramount that we make the taxpayer know that they are at the forefront of every decision that we make. We need to allow them and make it very accessible to know what's going on. There are, like you guys are saying, there are things that have to be discussed behind closed doors. That's fine. As long as we are still discussing, you can still discuss those meetings in not detailed form. I mean, I think you understand what I'm saying here, in that communication, transparency is absolute. The taxpayer is the shareholder in this whole thing. They need to be kept in the loop.
Wonderful. Thank you, Brett. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Sam Morrison, sir. You're a very candid kind of guy. What do you think to increase transparency amongst the constituents, amongst council, and all of that?
Well, as everyone has mentioned, I mean, you want to be as transparent as you possibly can. Remember who we're working for, the residents of Moose Jaw. That being said, there's a lot of situations where we can't talk openly due to the delicate nature of subjects. Respect for the people involved. As an example, I just sold my business. It was almost a year in the doing, and I wasn't talking about any of that stuff to the public. It would have upset quite a few people. There's going to be some situations you've got to go in camera, have your discussions. When all the details are in place, you're going to make it public. So sometimes you just can't talk about it right away, but you will sooner or later. As far as any of that secret meeting stuff, that wouldn't be tolerated.
Very good. Thank you very much. Well, you guys have been absolutely incredible. Thank you for your participation. We're going to get some closing remarks from each one of you. And what we're going to do is we're just going to reverse the order with which you did your introductions. So if we might, you're going to have 2 minutes, I believe, 2 minutes to do this. And we're going to start with Heather Eby, please. Go ahead, Heather.
Thank you. Well, in closing, I just want to say that I understand the role of mayor, and being the mayor is about profile and position and not about power. I know that the mayor is just one vote of 7. The mayor has no unrestricted authority or power to come in and make fundamental changes of any kind without the support of the majority of council. It is the mayor's job to help build consensus and to bring council together when they appear divided. I know consensus is important, but I also believe that good debate and discussion is key to good decision-making. I will be a leader that encourages lively, respectful debate, but with good team building as a foundation. The mayor is also the eyes and ears of council at City Hall, keeping colleagues informed of what is happening and what is upcoming. Communicating with council will be paramount for me. As your mayor, I promise myself and I promise you that my priority will always be to respond to your reasonable phone calls, emails, and messages. Now, this doesn't mean that I will be able to solve every issue, unfortunately, that you bring me, but I will always hear you out and try to help find a solution as I'm able. The citizens of Moose Jaw will be my number one priority. 7 people represent Moose Jaw at the council table and within the city, but often only one person, the mayor, represents the city elsewhere, with other levels of government, in economic development opportunities, at conferences and events. I will represent our city in an intelligent, professional, respectful, and congenial manner. At the same time, I will prove that we in Moose Jaw can be leaders, not naysayers, but leaders. Moose Jaw will be mentioned when successful cities are cited. We will be on the leading road ahead, not a speck in someone's rearview mirror. I am the right person for the role of mayor for such a time as this. I am not better than anyone here, but I am different. I respectfully ask for your support on November 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Mr. Sam Morrison, please. Sir, back to you.
Unmute. In order to get through the next 3 years, we'll need to work together as a team. I believe City Hall and City Council is full of good people who want to do a good job. We need to ensure the atmosphere is conducive to building the progressive city we all want. I don't expect the mayor's job to be an easy one, but nothing worthwhile ever is. Saskatchewan's economy will grow, and we need to be positioned to take advantage of this growth. We already have the advantage of being located on major shipping corridors, so there's no reason we can't grow. As I mentioned earlier, we must stay focused on attracting labor as well as business. I'd like to say thank you to the Moose Jaw District Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. And it also offer best of luck to the other candidates. And I'm sure we'll work together somewhere in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Next up is Michael Haygarth, please.
Yes, well said. Thanks again, everybody, for this wonderful experience. I'm very happy to be involved in something like this. And again, I'd say, like everybody else, this is quite an opportunity to be able to represent our community. Some final thoughts that I'd like everybody to be left with is I believe that to address the concerns of Moose Jaw, we need to adopt a positive attitude for the city. I believe that the health of a city is the responsibility of its community. And I believe that a city becomes a community when it becomes united and we stand together united. We have a great road ahead of us. I think we have a great team in office, and this is something that we can do together. So let's pull together and be the best Moose Jaw we can be.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We get next to Brett McCauley, please.
Excellent. It's my intention as a candidate for the mayor of Moose Jaw to let you all know that I truly care about this city. I care about who lives here, and I care about what happens. I want to represent you. You deserve someone who understands you. You deserve someone who has your best interests in mind. And you deserve a leader who actually listens to your concern and acts on those concerns in a positive manner. I truly mean it when I say, let's build Moose Jaw together. I'll work tirelessly to create a better Moose Jaw. I want to be your mayor. Thank you all very much for giving me the privilege to speak here tonight. I truly appreciate it. On November 3rd, vote Brett McCauley for mayor of Moose Jaw.
Thank you, Brett. Mike Simpkins, please, sir.
So there's a few things that I think we need to keep in mind as we approach the election, by-election, the early advance polling next week and whatever. We need, I think we need to keep in mind that we don't need another by-election. We don't need another politician in there. We need people that want to serve the city. We need people that want to get things done. We don't need another scandal. What we need to do is minimize our wasteful spending. We need to stop ripping up streets 2 or 3 times. We need to address the residential and the business taxes. We need to start fighting for people in the city, and we need to stop having our citizens having to fight City Hall over tax assessments that aren't realistic. And so we need to promote economic growth. That's through tourism and investing in attractions and things and building our community and making it better by drawing people in here, by selling our community and marketing it better. We need to increase our community events. So we need to start selling our place and investing in ourselves as a community. And we need to work and strengthen our local businesses by improving the parking downtown, working with the local shops for incentives for improvements down there, and create incentives for beautification. We need to find out what's going on with River Street and the owners of the property down there, so we can get something going instead of just sitting on the roads there. I think Moose Jaw needs a leader, and we need a leader that's got some vision and some integrity to get things done. So I'm asking for your support on November 3rd for somebody who's going to create a growing and vibrant city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Mr. Clive Tolley, please.
Aaron, first, thank you for the excellent job of moderating this evening, and to Rob and Heather. This Live, Love, Local campaign that the Chamber has been involved in has been a fantastic thing for our city, and I think everybody should remember that the money you spend here stays here, creates wealth, creates jobs, and helps pay the taxes that keeps our city going. I believe I've got the right experience. I was on council previously. I worked for the federal government for a few years and the provincial government for 20 years. So I think I know how to talk to both of those levels of government, because one of the key things you want to do as a city is access the money that comes back to us through the federal and provincial grants. I'm the person on council that's a professional problem solver. I'm sorry, I would be the person on council that would be a professional problem solver, because I currently work as a negotiator, an arbitrator, and a mediator. And I'd be keen to work with this council, the 3 people that are running for mayor, Heather, Crystal, and Kim, along with Jamie Logan, Doug Blanc, and acting mayor Don Looning. And I want to thank Doug Blanc he brought forward this idea that when people showed up at council, they'd speak first rather than wait till the end of the meeting. And that has changed the access for people that want to appear in front of council, and made it much more hospitable. And if I'm elected mayor, it's going to be an open door policy, and we're going to work hard to try and keep this city vibrant and create something of historical significance down on River Street that's going to add to the tourism facilities we've already got, and give us something to be proud of, and proud of being in a notorious city. I haven't heard the bell yet. There it is. So I'll wrap up. I ask for your vote. I think I'm the best person for the job, although I'm very encouraged by hearing from the other 8 candidates here tonight, and you also have the passion and love for the city, and that's evidenced by what you said tonight.
Thank you so much, Clive. Next, Mr. Wayne Waterman, please.
Yes, again, words were taken out of my mouth here. I think Mike hit it on the head. We don't need more politicians. We need infrastructure here. We need business here. We need accountability. Heather touched on some good points there. Sam, everybody's hit good points. I just like to say that under our policy as well, do what we can for for creating business and inviting us into the city, build the tax base up, and just like to thank you as well for having the opportunity to speak tonight. And I hope I can count on people for their vote. And good luck to all the candidates. Everybody's got good points. Everybody's got bad points. And one thing for sure, please everybody, but I'll give it my best to do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Crystal Froze, please.
Thank you, Aaron, and thank you again to the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this forum today and for the important work you do promoting Shop Local and supporting our local economy. I believe leadership is an action, not a position. I've heard from families across our city about their worries. I listened to the challenges the business faced when I was on the weekly Moose Jaw Chamber of Commerce Zoom meetings, and I have brought these concerns and solutions to the council table. I had citizens reach out to me about the concerns of rising petty crime and safety issues that have been impacting neighborhoods all over our city. Our firefighters are picking up needles more often. Our police are handling challenging situations with mental health and drug issues here in our city. It's a growing problem that we need to address. As your mayor, I would bring together a task force to address this issue, collaborating with organizations and experts like the Moose Jaw Crystal Meth Strategy Committee, property and business owners, police and fire representatives, and provincial officials. This committee would work together on solutions and would identify areas where we need more resources in our city. The mayor's role is to pursue opportunities for our city, to work with our business community, nonprofit organizations, and citizens to return and act on calls and work collaboratively and respectfully with all council members. From garbage and water bill issues, supporting funding for senior centers, safer crosswalks and intersections, removing red tape for new businesses, to bringing in potential investors in our city. I've proven that I listen, I follow up, and I act. I'm a person of action. This is my hometown. Your concerns are my concerns, and my door is always open. And it would be a privilege to use my passion and education and experience to serve and work for you as mayor of Moose Jaw. I know together we can make our city stronger. I ask for your support on Election Day, and thank you once again for tuning in tonight.
Thank you, Crystal. Kim, if this were a music festival, you'd be the Rolling Stones closing it all out tonight. So just so you know. So Kim Robinson, please, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Aaron. And like the others have said, I think you've done a wonderful job as moderator. I'd like to thank you very much. And of course, I guess I'm going to have to thank Rob Clark too, as much as, and certainly Heather as well. I want to clear up one thing that Mr. Simpkins is saying, that, it might be a good idea to save a buck here by not electing Crystal Froze or Heather Eby or Kim Robinson. I think that's unfair in itself. Moose Jaw has a history of should I say, stepping on a dollar to pick up a dime. So let's just vote for the candidate that you think is the very best. If it creates another election, so be it. I can only speak for myself, but I'm sure Heather Eby and Crystal Froze, had it been an option for us, would have stepped down to run for mayor. So there's a little bit of misinformation going on in that way. So now that I've got that off my chest, I will say that I believe we need a strong leader, and I have a vision. I have a number of things. I think our downtown would maybe look better with a theme. I'd like to see a signature event again, much like we had at Band Festival. I have a couple of young daughters in cheerleading. Maybe it becomes an international or national cheer event at Mosaic, or the White Elephant, as some of the others have called it. Like Crystal said, this is my hometown as well, and I would fight for everybody in this town. I'd be a huge voice. I believe in Moose Jaw, and as a community, we need to believe in our city again and become notoriously famous and believe that we can do better. Invest in Moose Jaw means much more than just investing in the financial ways. So Look at investinmoosejaw.ca, see all about Kim Robinson, and on November 3rd, vote for who you feel will be the best mayor. Thanks again.
Thank you, Kim, very much. You know, since we've moved here, I've found Moose Jaw to be notoriously, surprisingly unexpected, yet a friendly city. So I was going to actually get you each to do a slogan, but that's okay. We're well past that now. But thank you all so very, very much. Appreciate your time and the efforts you're putting in. All of this has been recorded. You can check it out on the Chamber of Commerce Facebook page, as well as our YouTube channel. If you want to contact, again, the candidates, just kind of get a feel more, what are you really all about? Check out the city website, city government, to the by-election tab. I want to thank Rob and Heather for all that they do behind the scenes. Everyone at the Chamber, I want to thank all the business people that make Moose Jaw so amazing. If we just realize what an amazing city we have here, I think things would smooth out just a little bit. Just, you know, I get by with a little help from my friends, right? So we're going to work together. Bless you guys. Best of everything and all that you do. Remember to vote on Wednesday, November 3rd. At the advanced polls, you can find that as well on the city website. Get out and vote. We have a voice, we have a vote. Put action to your voice, to your vote, put action to your feet, and let's make a difference together. So thank you from the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be part of this tonight. You guys have a wonderful day, and we'll see you at the polls. Thank you so much, every one of you.